What's up, y'all? My name is Andrew Argel. I'm from Carson, California, born and raised. Two parents from the Philippines. I have an older sister who's 2 years older than I. And growing up, I was a very rambunctious kid, very rebel-like. Always wanted to play, always did the opposite of what my parents told me. So if they said don't touch it, I touched it. If they said don't go here, I went there. And I just wanted to play, I wanted to have fun. And growing up, I used to think I was Samoan actually, instead of Filipino. To the right of us was our Samoan family. So a group with Samoans, on the left was the African Americans, across the street were the Mexicans. So I had a very diverse childhood. And growing up, we just wanted to play. We played a lot of sports. We played football. We played two-hand touch. We played a lot of video games in the alley, in the garage, a lot of dominoes. Every 4th of July, we'd buy all the illegal fireworks and we'd have like a block party. And that was my childhood. But as I got older, they were a lot older, and so they got exposed to gangs and drugs and things like that. And so that was the influence. So growing up, that was the cool thing to do. And so I joined the gang early into middle school, and I thought that was a cool thing to do, having all the colors and all the do-rags and bandanas and things like that. But I also had family that was part of the church. And so I always felt like I was on the fence of everything. It was either I can go this route, the wrong route, or I can go the good route or the right route. And so there was one summer, I was 13 years old. I remember being in the alley and we were playing NFL Game Day '99 and eating food, and this car comes up and these two guys come out, and the first guy asks, where are you from? And we do our thing and we tell him where we're from, and he pulls out a gun and he clocks it at us. He shoots it, but it jams. And so instead of running away, we end up laughing at him, like idiots. And then the second guy steps out, he pulls out a gun, and then we end up running. So we book it, and all you hear is pop, 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 pop. And then we see my friend, he gets shot right through the arm. So he has two holes on the bicep and the tricep. And I remember going home that night, freaking out, scared. And I remember making the decision, okay, that's not the life that I want to be a part of. And that same week, I went to my first prayer meeting, Love and Faith prayer group. And I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the praise and worship. I fell in love with the environment. And that's what I needed. I needed another foundation, another discipline, other role models beside my parents to have that influence. And so I was part of that prayer group for all of my middle school, high school, into college. And it was all about church. That was the thing to do. Everyone was at church every Saturday, every Sunday, serving. Praise and worship. We did all the events, we did all the retreats, all the leadership workshops. But what I loved about church is that that's where the foundational skills of speaking came from too. And I remember just being given the opportunity to speak and influence people, and I just wanted to change lives and make a difference. And as we were doing that, it was a lot of fun. But there was also the pressure to go to school and get a job and get a degree. And I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to speak all day, I wanted to serve at church all day, I wanted to be with the people, but there's no money in the church. And so while I was going to school, I was really dissatisfied. I hated school, I hated having a boss, I hated the professors, I hated all the schoolwork, the tests. I just wanted people to tell me what to do to be successful, and then I would go do it and I would outwork everybody. That was my vision for it, but it never panned out. And then one day, Brittany, I went to middle school with her, so that's how I knew Brittany. She introduced me to the company. She messaged me on Facebook one day and said, hey Drew, we're expanding, we're looking for good people. I don't know what you're up to now, but I was just throwing it out there. And it was the perfect time. I was with my ex-girlfriend who was a nurse, and I felt pressure from her to go make it and make a lot of money and support her. All my friends had already graduated, making really good income, and I felt pressure to do that. And then I had my parents who were pressuring me, very strict, traditional Filipino parents who are all about school and get a job and things like that. So I was just really dissatisfied. I was looking for an opportunity. And when Brittany messaged me, I came in and I still didn't get it. That was the thing. I still didn't understand it. And I was still nervous. I was shy. The person I was today definitely was not the person when I first came in. And when I gave that credit card to do an AMA, I still didn't understand what it was. And I was nervous, and I was walking out the door thinking, like, what did I just do? Just paid $100? Like, what the heck? And then as I was going out, my friend, his name is Raymond Rojas, he had been with the company for 2 years, and that's how great Adam and Johanna are. They let him plug in, and he was a different team or a different hierarchy, and he said, man, Drew, what are you doing here? And I said, I think I just got started, I'm not sure, I'm kind of nervous. And he said, man, if you put the same passion into this business as you do church, sky's the limit. And I was like, man, what the heck? I was like, for him to say that, and he served with us at church, and he saw what we can do and things like that. He knew how devout and how strict I was about church and how much I loved it and how passionate it was. For him to say something like that about this business, in my opinion, it really saved me. But I was still skeptical. I did all the things that you weren't supposed to do. So I remember going home that night, and I texted all my friends, I called all my family members, and I said, hey, tomorrow at 6 o'clock I have to call you. Don't answer. I'm doing this thing. I'm just gonna see if it's legit or not. And I remember coming in the next day, sitting with Brittany, and we're pounding out the phone calls, and no one is answering. She's just like, man, no one's answering. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're just eating dinner. It's all right. And then it took me literally, I'm so embarrassed. It took me literally 3.5 years to finally tell Brittany about that story, because I was so embarrassed. I was like, man, I don't want them to ever know that I SOD'd our people, and they didn't answer. And I remember training one day, and I said, hey, this is what I did. And Andrew and Brittany were in the back. They're like, what? You did what? How come you never told us? So I was like, I don't know. I didn't want you to think less of me. And then I remember going to BPM on one Saturday, and Johanna had just came back from Costa Rica. I never really heard her speak before, but she came back, and Adam had a slideshow, and he showed the videos, and he showed all the pictures, and they were literally selling the dream on this Costa Rica trip. But the thing that really moved me, the thing that really changed me, was that Johanna talked about her family, and she talked about how grateful she was for this business, giving her the lifestyle, the freedom to be able to take her family and do the things that no one else could do. And she talked about her faith, and she talked about her family, she talked about the clients that she helped. And I said, man, if someone like this, who I don't even really know, is talking about faith, family, and business in that order, and talking about helping people and doing great things with their life, that's someone that I can follow. And so if it wasn't for Johanna talking about Costa Rica, I think that was definitely a defining moment also. And then that same year in December, there's this girl named Stephanie Manson. She talked about paying the price, and she talked about passion, and she talked about sacrifice, and she talked about, at that time, she talked about how she was in the business for 2 years, unlicensed, and still building and recruiting and changing lives, because it wasn't about the income. But she saw this long-term vision of what it would do for her life, and I said, man, that's me.